Hello there. Today I want to take a look at these not Lego Warhammer 40k Space Marines. And I say not Lego because these are definitely not officially licensed. I got these from a website called Temu, T-E-M-U. Never really heard of that site before, but I had kind of seen some people posting these guys on some of the Warhammer groups, and I had to have some. And they're actually relatively cheap, only about $2.50, $3 a piece. But I wanted to do just a quick review. I'm actually going to take a look at these two guys first because they are a slightly different quality. And then, yeah, we'll take a look. So one of the first things to note is that these two in particular don't actually come with the weapons. The chainsword and pistols that I have are actually extras from the other 5 that I bought, which have plenty of extra weapons. We'll also take a look at the differences. So these two in particular have slightly different, I guess, molds, if you will. So the helmet's slightly different. The shoulder pad and arm is actually all one piece instead of a separate piece, which I'll take a look at in a moment. But one of the things I want to kind of point out is that these guys, I don't know if you grew up in the 90s like I did, but basically you had Legos, which were great quality, and then you had Mega Bloks, which were not. And what I find interesting about these guys is that the armor on the outside is a little bit closer to the Mega Bloks style, but the inside of these guys is actually very Lego quality, if I can get the helmet off without pulling the whole head off. Oh, nope. So they really grab onto the head, so I'm going to try to get this off. So one trick that I figured out is that instead of trying to pull it off of this, which it just kind of, slides off pretty easily. But if you use the back part that the backpack is supposed to go onto, just get the head on there, give it a little twist, it should come off. So actually, never mind. That had worked once, and then I couldn't get it to work again. So really, I'm just having to take, some soft pliers, grab onto the bottom of the head, and pop. But that's kind of sad because the detail on these guys' heads is actually pretty decent. And this is what I wanted to tell you. So all these are the armor parts, and you can kind of see that they have that, kind of opaque. They're not like super opaque. There's a translucence I can't really describe about them, but it just kind of reminds me of Mega Bloks. Whereas the guy inside the armor, that looks like a Lego to me. I mean, very opaque armor or plastic. On this guy in the Black Templar specifically, these legs are very wobbly, but otherwise. It looks pretty good quality. I'm actually going to take a look at the other ones in a minute that actually have a lot of detailing on the arms, which I think is kind of pointless because you cover them up with the armor. And I am going to just go over quickly a breakdown of all the parts that this comes with, and I'm going to show you one of the newer ones and show some of the differences. So you've got this piece here that just slides over the top, which gives it a little bit of height, but it also makes it to where the connection doesn't all the way go down. You're kind of like leaving a space about that wide, so the tops are prone to pop off. I mean, they hold in there. They hold pretty good, but just something to be aware of. With these guys in particular, I think there's also an Ultramarine that's this variant, but the little leg armor does not cover the foot, which is interesting. But it's got two kind of downsides to it. The first, and then only one of these came with this, or only I bought the Blood Angel and the Black Templar together, and only one came with this. The other 5 all did come with that. But, when you put that down, if there were more pegs here, this guy would fit just fine. But if there were pegs in the back, actually, I just noticed that there are 2 little holes for pegs. On the other ones, which are overall better, you don't have those peg options at all. You pretty much have to put it on something that's, flat like this with no studs. And then, like I said, the arm piece on these is all one solid chunk. And then you've got the... Oh, can't do that with the head on. Ta-da! And then you want to compare that to... this is actually... I repainted the shoulder pads to be Blood Ravens, but this is actually the newer version of Blood Angel. And you can tell the plastic is very different. And this is much darker, which is why I actually decided I wanted to go with Blood Ravens, because also Blood Ravens are one of my chapters that I paint more of my Space Marines in. So I wanted to just kind of show you some of those differences. Like I said, on the leg armor here, this boot, if I can get it off, actually covers the whole foot. So if there are any studs on the front, or even in the back, I just realized another thing that's kind of a downside, and I'm going to go over and kind of shade this, but there are lots of spots. Lots of spots right here where you can tell the plastic came off of a sprue. It is also kind of interesting that they took the time to put so much detail on this part of the model when you're just going to cover it up with the armor. I kind of wish that the detail was on this part of the armor and not underneath. But then I wanted to show you kind of the difference here. Oh, look, that guy's head actually came right off. I like that they all have different heads, too. But this guy has more of a like football player type armor, where the sleeves... And look at all the detail on the arm, which is just going to get covered up. That's kind of interesting to me. And then these shoulder pads actually pop off. Which makes it to where they do have a limit of how high they can move up, whereas these guys can probably rotate a little bit more. So that's just something to be aware of. The backpacks are also different. On this one, you have a hole just off to the side for like a back banner or something like that, whereas on the newer models, it's right in the middle. In a moment, I'm actually going to do a little turntable to showcase all of them. But I wanted to show something really interesting about the plasma. This is actually, unlike these other parts that are molded off of using a silver or gray plastic, the plasma here is actually molded with a clear blue, which you can kind of see if I take a light and put behind that. And that's the whole thing, which... I wanted to show you that I actually have two of these plasma, and the paint on one of them at the top was not incomplete. But that's something I can quickly fix. But you can kind of see the. That's pretty neat. But let's take a look at all of them together. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention real quick is on the Black Templar and the Blood Angel, and like I said, I think there is one Ultramarine that's in these style as well, but I didn't order that one because I got this guy over here. But the Aquila on their chest is actually a separate piece that just kind of fits right in there, and it's got, of course, different colors depending on the different Marine, but it just pushes in there. So it's actually three-dimensional versus these two that are just painted on. All right, so let's go ahead and do the rotation. Of course, that white scar is going to mess with my white balance. There we go. Oh, and I think it's interesting to note that there's actually two variants of bolt rifle. There's this one that has the mag and the scope, and then there's one that has a drum instead. And one last pass with their helmets off. I hope you guys enjoyed my look at these not Lego Warhammer Space Marines. And may the Force be with you.